At the core of this, the reason why this has come in is because there must have been enough people that had complained about the fact that they saw a home that said it's coming soon and then just saw a sold sign and said, I never had the opportunity to see that property.
Or this is a power grab for the real estate industry to stay in control of the listings.
Welcome to the Tom Storey Show with Steve Karrasch and Tom Storey, where we discuss everything real estate or whatever else is on our minds.
I feel like I should have more coffee, but what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Tom Storey Show. This is going to be a Steve and Tom episode. We schedule these episodes every, 3 to 5 episodes, depending on the schedule when we do it, just to kind of catch up, talk about all the things that are on our mind. We love having guests on the podcast, but we try to make sure when we have the guest on, we're just asking the questions that they'd actually be interested in. And on today's episode, what me and Steve are going to talk about is like what we are really, really interested in, what's going on right now, talking about on the ground level. So if you're here, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Goal is still to get to 2,000 subscribers as soon as possible. You would very much make our day if you do that. If you have been coming back here every single weekend and you haven't hit that subscribe button, that's all we ask you to do. And if you're listening on the audio platforms, I hope you're having an amazing day. Steve, can we quickly chat about last week's episode? Because I thought Brad Lamb was like the perfect podcast guest. I thought that was everything we could have ever wanted, interviewing somebody about how open they are, how he's willing to share. He didn't hold back anything, towing the line of maybe controversial topics and whatnot. What was your thoughts on last week's episode?
He definitely didn't hold back. I mean, I think any episode where you and I are talking less is probably a good thing. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. Definitely didn't hold back. I don't know. I'm sure the bears in the market won't like that type of, especially the way we kind of kicked it off, which was fun, right? So yeah, it's all true though. Like if you think downtown Toronto's gonna get cheaper, good
Probably
luck
not.
to you.
Yeah,
good luck to you. Like it was, yeah. So it was. I'm interested just to find out, like, just what people think though. Like when you see, like he's very opinionated, right? And opinions can divide pretty quickly, so it's interesting to see how people react to those sort of things. So
I thought he said that was really interesting, that really holds true to my market and your market, was he was like, markets for a period of time, and this is over like the last 45, 50 years of data, they'll have like 3 years of like they'll rise, right? And they'll be doing good, and you'll have 3 really good years in terms of price appreciation, and then something will happen, right? Yeah. Whether that is rates or pandemic or all the other things, economic stuff, job losses, immigration changing, something will happen, and then the market will change for the next 18 months, and it will either stabilize or it will drop off.
So it was interesting.
And then 3 years again, and then it happens again. Yeah. And I thought that was really, I've never thought about it like that.
So it's super interesting because I just did a video on my channel for this. And what I did was I didn't like the average sale price in the Fraser Valley because last year, 2022, was actually above 2021.
Well, because the first 4 months were pulling it up, right?
But not only that, the beginning of 2021 was so much lower. Right. So it actually did not show a loss in 2022, which we know is not really reality because anybody that bought in 2022 probably is worth less today or until recently. Yeah. So I pulled the numbers. And so if anybody listening to this, go back and watch the video on my channel, but I'll go over them here real quick. The average was a 7.68% increase.
Over value. How many? Over how much?
Over 43 years.
It's Toronto was with a 40-year was about 6.8 something percent.
Yeah, so the average is 7 point. Now this is only, what I did was I took every March.
Okay,
I did not take the years because that doesn't really show where we are right now. So I took every single March and just compared it to the one before and after. Then I found there were 13 years with negative growth
Of the 43.
or contraction of the 43.
Oh.
So I think it was something like 72% of the time you were seeing an upside.
That's
So
it.
70. So 3/4 of the time, 3 out of 4 years, which is basically what he's saying. You see
exactly
growth.
what he said.
So then, what do you think of the years that had growth? What do you think the average growth was?
So 72% of the time they had growth, and over the entire time the growth was, you said, just over 7% a year.
Yeah.
So the years that had growth, I would guess like 10 to 12%.
15.23.
Wow.
Average growth on the years that have growth. And that means the average negative year was actually 9.7%.
Growth.
Negative.
Oh, so big.
Of the negative years.
That's interesting. So massive swings up and big swings down, not as much as going up, but like we just can't have nice markets, can we? We can only have markets that go like this and then this and then this and then this.
Seems to be the case. Like when you look at it on that. So I think that the issue that people have when they look at like, oh, you know, the market's going to fall out, their brains think very, very short term. Right. And then the people that are most successful in anything, and this is real estate, this is business or whatever, your mindset is so much longer.
Future focus.
Right. Because I was our condo right now, I was looking at it again and I'm like, man, that thing's creeping up to almost last year's prices again. I'm like, if I just sold that thing, I'm free and clear, right? I got no more debt anywhere. We're good. And then I'm like, I'm going to regret that move in 20 years.
Like,
I'm going to regret that move.
Unless you need the money right now, why would you liquidate that asset?
Right. So it's like, I mean, it would relieve a lot of pressure, but at the same time, then what?
Yeah, that's
right. Like,
right.
Then I buy what? Another thing?
Yeah, then you'll get bored and then you'll re-enter the market at a higher price and it doesn't make any sense.
Totally. So anyway, I thought those numbers were super interesting. 18 of the 43 years saw double-digit increases. So almost 50%, let's say 45% of the time, you see more than 10% growth.
Yeah, but so the ups are big and the downs are big. There's no going up 2% or dropping 2%. It's big ups and big downs.
I should probably look at those numbers. I didn't look at how many years were like almost flat. There weren't many. There weren't many at all.
Huh. I mean, without even looking at the Toronto numbers, I could probably guess that it's not going to be too dissimilar. Probably because our market does the same thing, right? Like in our last 40 years, we had we're different than you. We had the crash in 89 where we didn't hit peak again until 2002. Took a long, but again, peak was that obviously one moment in time. Then we had 2008 where we had a correction, but really prices didn't drop, just sales numbers dropped. 2017 and then now 2022. Like that's our last 40 years. A crash and 3 correct. Or you could argue last year was a crash, but one big crash, one minor crash for now. For now, we'll see what happens.
When I looked at like the year over years, though, there was a crash in my year over year stats here. And this is, again, just asset class, all asset classes average price. So, take that for what it is, right? Maybe all condos sold this month, right? Like that can sway things. But there was just as big of a crash in 2012 as there was in 2009. 10%. So, right? Like it's and then pretty close to that again in like 2017.
What happened in 2012 in your market? Why did it drop off then?
I felt like it was more of kind of a steady decline. Like I sold a lot of properties in like 2010, of which if I had to resell them in 2012, 2013, they were worth less, particularly condos.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So it was, I don't know. I just find it, and that's, so the basis of my video is just basically like everybody the fact that we had such a substantial 19.9% crash last year, statistically speaking, the chances of another negative year after that are almost zero.
Yeah, if you look at the last
you're probably
40 years.
not going to see another crash after a year of a crash.
Well, I thought that was interesting actually, because we had put up the poll on the channel, like the community tab, on like how you feeling about the spring market. And still after everything we've talked about, giving people all the knowledge and whatever, still 30% of people think things are going to drop off more, and they might be absolutely correct. But I know this sounds, it's so difficult to make these statements, right? Because I know that me and you for a living sell this asset, and people think we only want this asset to go up. But like looking at the numbers, it's hard to imagine from the drop we've already seen to Bank of Canada holding for 2 announcements in a row. You think it's going to go down another 15% from here across the board? I don't know. I just personally don't see it, and I could be wrong.
If inflation spikes, and
if job losses show up, then yes. I think that's the thing. The job losses that we haven't yet seen really, that would maybe cause it.
Inflation spikes though, and then you see another 2 or 2.5% interest rate increases for sure. Right? But if everything stays where, and I think we'll be okay if they don't,
right,
do something stupid like lower interest rates. I think interest rates are at a great spot right now.
Well, I think they'll probably hold till at least early 24, right?
I don't know, man. I here's the thing: for them to drop, it has to be bad. So people think they're going to drop and then things will get better. It doesn't. It has to get a lot worse,
right?
First,
but if they think that inflation is getting to 3% by this summer, which they've made that statement, and when we had, is it Brandon? I always say Augmentin on Brendan. I'm sorry, Brendan. He was an awesome interview. He said that that if they get to 2%, eventually they want to get the overnight rate between 2 and 3. It's currently at 4.5, so there would be cuts at some point. But I guess the question is, how long do you have to be at 2% before you start seeing the rates coming down from Bank of Canada?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a slippery slope if we get down to say 2% inflation and they start reducing rates.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good if they did it too quick.
That could double dip inflation. That's what happened in 1981, right? So, and then they were like, because they went from like whatever, let's call it 10% to like 14%, and then they came back a bit, and then inflation took off, and then they had to go up to 21% to crush inflation. But that was a Canada problem. What I'm learning now is, like, after speaking with like John and stuff, my market, your market, Seattle, which shouldn't be tied together. These 3 markets shouldn't be tied, are doing almost the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a world market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, North America wide, we're all experiencing this right now. And all the markets that going into the last few years were more stable and didn't see the ups and downs like your market and my market, like we just discussed, they then learned how to deal with multiple offers. They then learned what the craziness was. And then they learned what happens when it goes up that fast, that it comes down as well, where, we've been dealing with that before where other markets didn't, or they were just steady or kind of just moved along slowly, and now we're all experiencing it. But
so what are your listings doing right now?
Well, this is it. So,
or whatever.
Well, they're moving very quickly is the truth. And you had brought this up before where you had said, like whenever it does come back, it's going to come back faster and more aggressive than we ever anticipated. And this is not a Canada-wide statement, by the way, right? Like I'm talking about the 416 area code of Toronto, the real city of Toronto. We had a house in the Beaches area, 33 showings in a week, got a really good sold price. We actually ended up getting 2 offers, but they were both very strong. All the other condos we've listed have sold in less than a 2-week period, and some going over the prices we were actually expecting. And now it's getting to the point that it was like this for houses. The freehold properties in the certain price ranges were all kind of going back to that offer date scenario, listing low with the marketing price. Mm-hmm. Now it's like 50% of condos are doing the same thing. Yeah. And you know what? It's working. We just did one that worked really, really well for us on a condo. And I listed a really cool, by the time this episode's out, it'll probably already be sold, but a really cool townhouse. I think we're taking offers. Yeah. Anyways, It's been crazy. We've had like 40 showings in the first few
Yeah.
days, and it's listed at $999. It's not listed at $499 or $599. And yeah, so it's busy. Like buyers are back. The supply is still not there to the level that we need it. And I feel like, listen, this conversation we're having, we could have had this same conversation 15 times before, but it's happening again. And the spring market, as we've anticipated, is looking like this is actually a normal spring market. Buyers are back. It's nice outside. Are you
Or
seeing
have
the
we
same
gone
thing?
through? Have we gone through normal and we've gone straight back into craziness again? I felt like it was normal. I felt like it, and then now
I don't think
I'm
it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's like on the fire chart of stupid markets. This is like heading into the red zone, but it's on the line of like when I see sale prices, I can at least still go, okay, like I understand how that happened, where previous to that, it was like, holy crap, that sold for that. So
Up or down,
up.
Okay.
Up when it was really heating up in the absolute craziness heading into the peak, and even going back to 2017, there was some stuff that now we've gone way past it in terms of price, but at the time it didn't make sense on paper. So I'm not worried about the market. It still feels healthy, but very much swinging to the seller direction again. Like our inventory levels for the entire market are like in the twos again. Like we do not have enough inventory that people want to buy.
So Cloverdale, that's my neighborhood. All asset classes, at least condos and townhouse, both just dropped under 1,
which would be in a very, very hot, intense sellers market.
Extreme sellers market.
Yeah.
So that's here's what I'm gonna think of a couple listings just recently. One's sold now, one's looking at offers because we had to put an offer date on it. And which are now irrevocable, which would be something interesting to talk about as well.
Why did you have to put an offer date on it? Just because the traction was so much that you were like,
I did the Tom Storey, which was we were getting these things ready for 4 or 5 weeks in advance, right? Like so many people expect to phone a realtor on Monday and have it on the market by Friday.
Yeah.
And these were like, prep and get them ready for marketing and all that sort of stuff. So I priced them in like February. And so they came to market just recently. And one of them, I was like, okay, maybe we'll have to lower the price. But it's good. It's fine. We'll get offers within the first week or two. And then by the time we went to open house, I know that's a bad word for you, Tom, but we went to the open house. It was line up out the door, people waiting for their turns, that sort of thing. Now, we did only end up with, I think we had 20 groups in an hour through the open house. We only ended up with 2 offers, but the people that got the property missed out on the one that was also in the same complex the week before.
So they're waiting for that. They were
like,
that.
We know we want to be in here. They offered on the other one. They missed it. And I don't know about the people that lost if it was their first offer.
I got a question for you. The one that they didn't get, I don't know if it was an exact comparable to yours. Did yours sell for more money than the one they missed on? Significantly more? Or how much
40,
more? 40 grand more. Was it an apple to apple, or was yours better?
We kind of had an extra bedroom.
So that's something.
Like your old place, if you think of it, it's very similar to your old place, with 2 bedrooms up instead of 3. Yeah. And then the difference would have been the rec room down below.
Okay.
Like there was a small room down below. Otherwise identical, same complex.
But yours objectively should have sold for more. Even
it was a 3-bed versus a 2-bed, but their square footage was identical.
So it shouldn't have sold for 40 grand more it should have sold for 20 grand or whatever, right? Okay.
And I would say, yeah. So, and then, I have another one, this time detached house, and we priced it again in February. Maybe March. We priced it in March. And I was like, this is good. They're like, we don't want to be on the market. We just want to sell relatively quickly. And so I priced it at a good, fine price. Maybe you get offers at asking. Maybe you look at offers below and negotiate whatever. And by the time so now 5 weeks later, we come to the market And I did another evaluation, obviously 2 days before I hit, and I go, oh, like, should we increase the price?
This episode of the Tom Storey Show is brought to you by the Storey team at LePage Signature in Toronto, Ontario. The Storey team focuses on satisfying all of their clients' wants and needs when either buying or selling real estate in the GTA. But don't take my word for it, they have way over 100 5-star reviews on Google from clients singing their praises after amazing home purchases and sales. From downtown Toronto condos to semis to detached homes, whatever your needs, Tom and his team promise to provide an educated, honest, and transparent approach to helping all of their clients achieve their financial and personal goals through real estate. So there is no need to search bus benches or newspaper ads anymore to find the right agent for you. Just visit www.storeyteam.ca to book a call with the Storey team today. That's STOREYTEAM.ca. That's StoreyTeam.ca. This communication is not intended to cause or induce breach of any existing agency agreement.
And then what we ended up doing is they said, no, we still want to sell quickly. We have motivation to get going. So I said, okay, well, we're going to put direction of offers on now. So we didn't originally have direction of offers. Now we do.
Gotcha.
And now we've been on the market for 2 days, 14 showings in 2 days. For a detached, and then we're going to have open houses coming up this weekend. So it's just a big switch really, really quickly. What I was shocked at, and this is super inside baseball for BC only real estate, but we now have irrevocable direction of offers. So you cannot bully offer in Vancouver, Fraser Valley, or Chilliwack anymore. You can't.
That's the date. It's happening then, nothing before.
It's called the irrevocable direction of offers now. So now, but what I am discovering is there were so many showings on the first day that I had to go babysit the listing, right? Just to make sure everybody got through and the house was taken care of. So I'm sitting there and they were saying, no, people are still just ignoring that.
Oh.
People are still getting bullied. They have a direction of offers. And then we find out 2 days later that they're still accept. So and I just told those agents, 2 separate agents told me that. And I told them, I'm like, your clients need to be phoning the BC FSA or the BC REA or the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board and complaining, because that is such a no-no now.
Did that come in with the cooling off? Because I didn't know about that one.
It was one of the measures brought in by the 3 real estate boards because it was cooling off period, but they're like, listen, cooling off period's BS. It's not going to do anything.
No. What
can we do? So they said, you know what, we can change the rules of cooperation to make bully offers no-go. And as a result, then everybody has a fair chance. Now you don't have to do direction of offers, but if you do it, you can't take a bully offer.
Right.
Which I think is fair.
And now that your market has started to pick up and you are seeing unconditional offers or subject free, as I believe you call them in the West Coast, has anyone now, okay, it's a firm offer with the 3-day cooling off. Has anything now fallen apart in that cooling off where someone's changing their mind? Has that happened yet?
So we had our office meeting this week, and my managing broker said that they have seen 1 out of all of the offers through. And now that's all of Macdonald Realty, Surrey, Delta, like the Fraser Valley Macdonald Realty offices. So they've seen 1.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know. I haven't seen it. However, I am checking junk boxes constantly because now all of the offers I have coming in basically are going unconditional.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am checking. I found it just the other day. Somebody said, hey, I sent you an offer, and I had to go into my junk mail and retrieve it because I don't know why it went there. And then I found an offer from someone else 2 days ago that didn't phone me, didn't page me.
Or didn't follow up to be like, hey, why haven't you
see how their offer went? And I'm just I don't know. This is what we're doing. Anyway, but yeah, so now I'm checking because they can deliver notice to my office to rescind. They can do all sorts of things.
Really I've found that when you're taking offers on one of your clients' listings, there's always one agent that doesn't respect the time you asked for the offer to be submitted by. And they're like, oh, just wait for us. Just wait. Just give me half an hour more. And then an hour later, you're like, come on, this is, it's rude to everybody else who showed up on time. But I've noticed that offer that comes in late is either absolutely crap, way under, a waste of everyone's time, and is actually just going to help push up the sale price of the property because it's adding to the amount of offers, or it's really, really good, but it's never in the middle. And most of the time, it's crap.
It's the bottom one, usually.
80% of the time, it's crap. 20% of the time, it's really good, and it's the one we take where it was worth waiting, but never is it just like in the cluster. It's always one or the other.
Yeah, I find they're usually the waste of time. It's unfortunate because the people that are submitting their offers first are usually the best agents with, the most serious buyers, all that sort of thing. But speaking of things that we can do as agents to make the market better, CREA.
Yeah. So CREA had a decision on their exclusive listing fiasco, which they came out and made an announcement and then backtracked. Can you fill everybody in on where they're at today?
Here's my understanding. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong and you're a realtor. My understanding is it has now passed. So what they're saying now, I think we have to look at the problem first, and I believe the problem is a Toronto problem. I don't believe it's an anywhere else in the country problem.
Sounds like anyone from not from Toronto making any statement about Toronto.
So my understanding is Toronto or the GTA has a coming soon problem.
By the way, just before you keep going here, you've been here enough that you can skip the second T in Toronto and you just call it Toronto.
Toronto, put the CH in?
Just Toronto. You don't need the second T. You've been here enough. You don't need to sound like an outsider.
So I'm going to start wearing blue soon. I guess what they're trying to do is get rid of the coming soon. That's my understanding. So it sounds like in the GTA, there's an issue with, hey, this listing is coming soon, and then the agent's trying to double end it or not bringing it to market, or it's coming soon for like 6 months, right? Or whatever. Now, I don't know if you can comment on that. Is that a problem?
So I will tell you, there was a house up the street from me that had a coming soon sign in it for 2 weeks before it came to MLS. Now, they didn't sell beforehand. It came to the market. But every time I drove by, I'm like, I wonder how long they're going to leave that for. I wonder when it's actually coming to the market. Like, I get what they're doing, right? They're trying to create excitement for something. And some people like the idea of having a chance to get something that no one else knows is there or available, and they want to get it before it hits the market. So I get what you're doing. Like, at the end of the day, you're trying to create more exposure for your seller, but you can also just piss off the market if you leave it there for too long, and then the property, and then you see a sold sign, and then you're like, well, what the hell?
Yeah. Do you think that coming soon one, like down the street from you, is someone trying to double end that property and keep it off the market? Or do you think it is legitimately they're just getting the listing ready and trying to build excitement?
Kind of interestingly enough, actually, the house that I bought was that exact scenario. It was coming soon. I knew the listing agent. Now, she had already done like a coming soon open house, even like when it was signed as an exclusive.
Yeah.
So I actually bought my house that way. But no, what typically is happening, right, is like we talked about before, we don't just meet with a seller on a Tuesday and then list the property on a Friday. So typically what I think happens, and this is not a blanket statement, but you're getting the house staged, you're getting it ready, the handyman's coming in to get some stuff done. And what you've done in that time period is you sign an exclusive agreement with your seller for a price before it hits MLS, right? And so it's not on the market, so it's still exclusively for sale, but then you put a coming soon sign on to try to get the exposure up there. And then once you're ready to hit MLS, you put it on the market. Now, I think what the real issue here and what they're actually trying to get at is the agents that aren't even putting a coming soon sign. They're just selling something exclusive. So they have an exclusive sign where yes, they'll cooperate with other agents and whatnot, but that I think is the underlying issue here. It's exclusive and they're just trying to find the buyer. And some sellers might want that, by the way. Some sellers might not want people running through their house. And in the luxury market, if you're going out and you're testing a price, you don't want it to be on MLS because then it looks like you've been sitting on the market for 3 months. But if you've been exclusive for 3 months, there's no paper trail. Someone can't look up on the system and figure out what you were trying to get before you hit the market.
So here's the thing. So What they've done, my understanding, correct me again in the comments if I'm wrong, is your coming soon can be no more than 3 days.
Seems reasonable.
And if you market a listing publicly, period, it must go on the MLS within 3 days.
Interesting.
So what they've essentially done.
What does publicly mean?
Anything other than a one-to-one phone call.
So it's
actually defined as that, one-to-one direct marketing. In other words, you phoning another agent that you might know, or a developer or whatever.
If I have a list of 1,000 real estate agents and I send a blast email, it's technically one-to-one to each of them from me. Does that count?
I believe that does. That would be a great question. I believe they view that as a email blast. So
which it is, but
that is marketing. So maybe not. It says, let me try and defined as marketing to the public or to anyone not directly engaged with the brokers, licensees affiliated with the listing brokerage, i.e. outside of your immediate office, unless it's one-to-one marketing. So in other words, maybe you can tell the office about it at an office meeting.
That is technically what an exclusive listing is that you're only supposed to be selling it exclusively in your brokerage. Like that was the initial. No, at the beginning it was. Yes, it was. In our market, it is.
Hunter, well, it's totally wrong here. So an exclusive listing. So I guess the history lesson is first you had open listings. They still have that in Europe.
Right.
In open listing, you'll have 15 signs in the ground. And if you call that agent direct, whoever sells it first gets paid. Yeah. Then they had exclusive listings. Exclusive here, anyway. I don't want to comment on Ontario or anywhere else. It means that you have exclusive right, me, the agent, to sell that property, and I can choose whether or not to cooperate with another brokerage or not, but it's my exclusive right, and it is not, the next term, multiple listing service, which is everyone cooperating together. So, man, this is getting into the weeds. So what it does is, effectively, I can, tell me if you think I'm wrong, this is now making listing your property off market illegal, basically. Not illegal, but not allowed to be done by real estate agents.
And I honestly think for 99% of people, this is a non-issue because you should be going to MLS anyways and getting the best price. I do understand celebrity, super high-end luxury stuff, or elderly or sick or whatever, don't want people. I understand that. I think there maybe should be a list of like reasons why you can do it. I think they should have thought about that in certain circumstances. Okay, there is. So what's that list?
Okay, so they do not apply to, obviously, one-on-one direct marketing, which we covered. Rental property listings. So our boards now, I know you guys have rental properties, so it does not apply to a rental property. You can blast those out for some reason. Commercial property, which, by the way, commercial property
is all exclusive.
Is all exclusive anyway, so they can't change the way the whole market works.
The commercial properties always get the easy out on everything. Foreign buyer tax, the buyer ban, everything commercial is just like, no, you guys just do whatever you want over there.
Yeah. Hey, if you want, we should have a commercial realtor on because that is such an old boys network that is run and in a way where you actually can shut people out. Not my opinion only, by the way. And then new construction listings with multiple properties or units. So for instance, if you have one that you're advertising, you can sell any of the other ones on exclusive. But what this does do, what I see here is all land assembly must now not be marketed with a sign. This includes a sign in the yard, by the way. You're not allowed to put a sign in the yard.
Would you not consider land assembly commercial?
And not if they're residential properties.
Yeah, I guess what the zoning is. Yeah.
So there's the question. Yeah. If it's a bunch of RF zoned single family detached homes in a row, which is how most assembly these days, and they're assembling those, you cannot advertise that now. It has to be on the MLS. Now, here is the issue. I think we've tried to solve a problem. I think CREA has done a terrible job of trying to solve the problem that they're trying to solve. But
by the way, I know a lot of people that are on the board at CREA that we could get on this podcast. Would you like me to get them on?
We have a very good mutual friend, you and I, that are on the board. I'm not sure if that person is allowed to talk publicly about this.
Mr. D.
They are a voting
He's not the only one. I saw that picture that was taken.
Oh, no.
I knew like half
more.
of them. Yeah.
We have, look at this inside. Look at
us.
We are connected with the organized, with big real estate. Here's where I'm worried, actually, because as a member of CREA, I'm worried that the Competition Bureau is going to tear this apart.
Guess we'll find out.
Because this is saying you must sell, basically. If you're using a realtor, you must sell on the MLS. Who cares about your privacy? First of all, is always my thing. Nobody cares about that anymore. But now you are not allowed to use a realtor and go off market.
Here's why I don't think this is actually going to be a massive issue, even for the people that were doing it previously. Because the reality is, if you're selling a $10 million house in Toronto and you don't want to go to the system, what you were probably doing anyways was picking up your phone and calling the other top 10 luxury brokers that you deal with all the time anyways and saying, hey, I've got this. Do you have someone for it? So I don't think it's going to change that much. Yeah, sure, if they're going to crack down on blast emails or Instagram posts or whatever. But if I always focus on like, well, where's the buyer actually coming from? I would think most times it is that one-to-one phone call. Or I guess the other thing would be there was a lot of like kind of exclusive like WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups with realtors only where they were sharing this information. Yeah. I guess that's not one-to-one technically.
Not one-to-one.
That's where it gets a little dicey.
We have something, on the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, the realtors have a Facebook page, right, for exclusive listings. It's basically like, hey, these are all off market, but if you want to post it here. And actually, one of the rules in the Facebook group is if you are bringing it to MLS, don't post it here.
Right.
Because this isn't a coming soon page. This is a, hey, these are off market. And they're full. Like there's 7-8 posts a week on that forum.
You know, there's actually a company, I'm not going to name it, but their whole business model is exclusives. And they grew pretty quick, and a lot of realtors are a part of it. I wonder how they're going to handle this, because this is like one of those things. You know, when like Apple does something, and like when Apple puts out the AirTag, they've just destroyed Tile's business model. Apple can bring out a new thing and just destroy another company. What CREA is doing with this could take out some companies that were doing exclusives. But yeah,
I'm worried. I don't think it's.
I don't think this changes me or yours day to day, or many of our clients. I don't think it's going to change anything.
Is it really going to? No. Is it a infringement on the ability for me to sell my property in the manner of which I choose? Yes. Which is continually what they're doing, right? The buyer rescission period is another infringement upon my ability to sell my own property.
Here's what we're doing. We're going back and we're putting on a headphone, and we're putting 2 headphones, okay? And we're going to get a dialer in front of us that dials all the other top realtors. If they don't pick up, we're hanging up. We're doing the old Richard Robbins prospecting, 1 phone on each ear. And we're just going to bang out 50 calls in half an hour. And that's how we're going to market these properties, which
I think it's silly.
We bring them to MLS 99.5% of the time anyways.
I would say 1 to 2 times a year I bring on an exclusive listing.
And what's usually the reason?
Sign in the ground.
But what's the reason why?
One, privacy. They don't want to be online. Usually if it is, it's often development. Okay. Right? Development, like if somebody's buying an acreage, they don't want that thing on MLS. But you can't reach all of the developers. So what this could do is this might push the development properties into the hands of the big guys, and you might not know who the younger up and coming developers are, because they won't have a chance to find the properties or buy them.
Yeah, I mean, at the core of this, the reason why this has come in is because there must have been enough people that had complained about the fact that they saw a home that said exclusive on it or coming soon, and then just saw a sold sign and said, I never had the opportunity to see that property and I don't like this, and make a change. So that's how we got to today, right?
Or let me grab, now you know me, I'm not the tinfoil hat guy, but let me play that side. Okay. This is and I do not agree with the statement I'm about to say. This is a power grab for the real estate industry to stay in control of the listings.
Because they're on MLS now.
Because they have to be on MLS now. They cannot be this hampers other business models that can come out, for instance, like the one you say, and do things exclusively. And that's where I think the Competition Bureau is going to step in and go, oh no, guys.
If you're listening to this on YouTube, I'd love for you to comment below right now on that tinfoil theory of Steve's, which I actually don't think is that crazy. I think that's interesting. Let me know what you think about that. I want to take this conversation to another sector of something that is actually exciting news for first-time home buyers. And I'd also put a video about this on my channel breaking it down, but I want to get in depth with you on this and kind of run you through this, Steve. So there is a new account that started on April 1st. You can now, as of this podcast coming out, go to any major bank or most credit unions as well and open this account. Now, this is only for first-time home buyers. It is called the FHSA, the First Home Savings Account. Okay? This was part of the Liberal budget, I believe, last year, and it's now finally come out now. Now, this I actually do really believe this could be a game changer for first-time home buyers, and I'll tell you why. Before this account existed, what were your two options to save for a down payment? You could put your money into high interest savings, but that wasn't really helping, right? You could do a TFSA for the tax deduction side of things, potentially, depending on what type of business that you run, right? Then you could do the RSP, but the goal of the RSP is a retirement plan. Sure, you could take out a maximum of $35,000 from it, but you got to pay that back within 15 years. Here's the difference with this new account, okay? Let's say you open this today and your goal is that you do not own a property yet, but you'd like to in the next few years. You open the account today. Now, the maximum amount of money you can put into that account is $40,000 with a yearly limit of $8,000. Okay, so let's say you open it up right now in 2023.
Question number one.
Yep.
Does that mean I can put 40 in this year or 8 this year?
8.
8 this year. Okay.
8 this year. Okay. But
so it's going to take me 5 years or whatever or more.
Well, yeah, but let's run through. So, but that 8 comes off your income. It's tax deductible.
Like an RRSP.
Correct. But here's the best part. You don't have to pay it back when you take it out.
Yeah.
An RSP, you got to put that money back in 15 years. You still got to pay it back. So this new account is so the purpose of this account is specifically for saving to buy your first home. The purpose of a TFSA is general savings, and the purpose of an RSP is retirement savings. Mm-hmm. So this new account is combining a TFSA and RSP kind of, where it's giving you benefits from both. Tax deductible. Actually, I don't think you get tax deductible on TFSA. You don't. Sorry, let me run back on that. I mixed it up with RSP. But on RSP you do, but you have to pay it back. So basically, you're a first-time home buyer. Go to your bank today and open this account. I do honestly think previously the stuff the government has done has not been very helpful for first-time home buyers. I actually do believe this is something. We can complain and say it's not enough, but it's something. And if you've already put money in your RSP and you've got savings in there and you could max that out at $35,000 and you get this, even if you don't get this to the 40, if you get it to a certain amount and you get the tax deductible on it each year on your income, that's going to help. And if you're buying with a spouse or a partner, they can do the same thing and then you combine them together. That's legitimately helpful. This is a good thing. This is actually, Steve, the government did something that's going to help people.
Amazing. Well, hey, if you swing in enough balls, right, you're going to hit one eventually.
What's the broken clock is right twice a day.
The thing there is, I guess people are going to say, well, okay, I can't afford to save $8,000 a year. If that's the case, well, maybe, but that's fine. Let's say you don't actually have to save $8,000 a year. And the reason is you save $8,000 one year. If you can put that in, you get tax deductions against that. So now your income tax is basically $8,000 less.
Yep.
Not your income tax, sorry. Your income is $8,000
your
less.
Income, yes.
You save the tax. So let's say you save, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000. Now you get that as a tax return. And then you're already $2,000 ahead for the following year. Mm-hmm. Right? So you take that tax return back, you roll it back into this savings account again. Now, can you invest in this savings account like an RRSP, or does it have to be in a bank account?
This episode of the Tom Storey Show is brought to you by the YouTube for Real Estate video course. Are you interested in creating an engaging, value-driven YouTube channel to help educate your client base on real estate in your market, as well as introduce a new revenue stream to your business? Perhaps you've already created a YouTube channel, but are struggling to gain viewership and the subscribers you are looking for. The YouTube for Real Estate course will provide you with proven tips and strategies on how to create and cultivate an engaging YouTube channel, as well as how to optimize your channel, resulting in higher viewership, subscribers, and yes, deals. But that's not it. I implemented YouTube in my business in early 2021, and it has easily been the best marketing source for meeting new clients that I have ever had in my business, period. Better than expensive geo-farming, internet marketing, and open houses combined. And now it even rivals my repeat and referral business. If you would like to learn all the tips and tricks for meeting new clients using YouTube, simply go to Video Course Login or click the link in the description below and sign up for the YouTube for Real Estate course today. And learn a year's worth of my painstaking research of learning how to use YouTube for real estate in just a few hours by taking the YouTube for Real Estate course. So go to videocourselogin.com right now and use the promo code TOMSHOW at checkout. Again, that's videocourselogin.com or simply use the link below.
No, so I just did a presentation about this with RBC, and as it's rolling out, it's still a little bit gray on some things. My understanding is that was the idea, that you can invest in this, and if your investments do well, like let's say you max it out with your 40 grand over a period of years, but your investments took it to $47,000, you can take out the 47.
Yeah. But
Right?
I just wonder, so one thing they've just done on the TFSA is they've made it very, very clear this is not a day trading account. This is like, I want you to buy it. Sure, you can buy stock in your TFSA, but if you're trading that, if you're actively trading rather than passively trading, meaning buying stock once or continually buying stock, if you're just trading to try and make money, that's a no-go in the TFSA now. Oh. So I wonder if it'll be the same thing. Now, if I was trying to do this, I would not want to put it in the stock market. I would want to be like, now that a GIC, a 2-year GIC is 4.5%, I would be very happy, to be there, because if you could compound that on top, you'd be set. So I agree with you. Can I set this up for my kids, or is this something that they have to do when they're 18?
That is another wonderful question that I wish I could answer. I know a lot of people that are interested about this are parents. I don't know if you can set it up yet or if you have to wait till they're 18, but that information will roll out and I will let you know. Like literally in 2 days, I'm doing another presentation with RBC where their financial guys are going to break this down.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people are parents looking at this being like, oh, yeah, okay.
Let's. Totally.
Because I generally would think that no, you can't do it till they're 18. That would be my thought. But,
well, the reason I ask is the government's also just given out a grant for our ESPs.
Yeah.
Of which, if your son doesn't already have one, you should. But the RESP, there's just a grant, and I think it's, I don't know, $1,200 or something per kid. You can just get it with maybe a few stipulations, whatever it is. So we went to apply to it, and it's so limited on where they will pay it to. So we can't do it at a credit union. We can't do it at our financial advisor, who is a financial advisor for a subsidiary of a big bank.
It has to be a big five bank.
It has to be like a big five. Like there's a list of, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 organizations. I don't know if it's just the big five. But now I've got to go open a bank account at a new branch. And now I'm trying to do the math like, does that cost anything? Is this actually going to be worth it in 18 years or am I going to get eaten up in fees while I'm there? So it's very hard to get like this $1,200 per kid because I'm not already at a bank, and I already have an RESP for them, but it's at the financial planners and I can't put them together.
Well, Nothing like complicating something that should be easy for people.
It should be easy. It should be able to be opened up everywhere. But you're right. I think it's good. I just want to see if I can, when my kids can start taking advantage.
It's a great question, because if we can do that, I'm going to open one for my little guy right away. I don't know the answer to that yet. I want to quickly hit on something before we make a kind of a fun announcement. I have never in my career listed so many properties that are tenanted than this year. And I think part of the reason why is because people saw the price gap between condos and houses and are like, okay, it's time to jump up. I have to sell one of my assets to make it work. Or they had a variable rate on their investment property and they're now getting dinged and they're minus $1,500 a month. That is another realistic thing. But how should I say this? I love tenants. We have a massive amount of clients that are tenants. I have my own tenants. Tenants are wonderful. I just want to make sure there's no but. There's no but. No, you know what? We've probably listed 10 condos with tenants in them over the last few months, and 9 out of 10 have been great. But why I'm saying this is because I think if you're a real estate agent listening to this, you have to educate your seller on the actual rules and regulations for selling a tenanted property. I'm thinking of just doing like another 30-minute YouTube video on specifically selling a tenanted property. The tenants have to know their rights. The landlord has to know their rights. And just a few very simple things here. Like if the lease is not done and there's 6 months left, you can't just sell it and kick them out. It supersedes who the owner is, right? They have to assume them. Even if they are month to month, the new buyer has to make it clear in writing that they will be moving into that property if you're going to give proper notice. And at least in Ontario, let's say you sell the property on the 25th day of the month. The 60 days notice does not start till the beginning of the next calendar month. I don't know if that's the same in BC as well.
Yep.
Showings are allowed from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. with 24 hours notice. Of course, we will try to be as flexible as we can be. Anyways, it's just like, it's funny where we have a standard email that we send out when we're introduced to the tenant. So I'd be like, hey, listen, we understand this is frustrating. I honestly totally get it. Here's everything you would need to know. If you have your own person you want to run this through, or give us a call, we're happy to have that conversation. But the entitlement from not just the tenant side, but the landlord side as well, thinking like, oh, I can just do this. It's like, no, guys, like there's rules in place here. Yeah. And if you're a tenant, you can't just be like, well, I work from home, no showings till 5 p.m. Like legally, they can show with 24 hours notice. Yeah. And that's how it is. So if you're going to say one thing over here, don't try to get an exemption and then follow the rules just because it favored you on one side. And I'm making that comment for both sides because, oh my God, like it is
owners think that they can do a lot more than they can.
They can't do anything.
Particularly here, right? Like they say, oh, I'll just move my family into it. Cool.
No.
Do you know the definition of family? Do you know the definition of family? Is it
Have you ever watched Fast and Furious? No. It's all about like family. No, it's that joke went over your head. Don't worry. It's a Vin Diesel.
Hey man, that's my prime. Underrated movies. The first 3 underrated. Anyway, the next 17 after that, I don't know.
When The Rock came in, you stopped watching?
I don't know. I think Tokyo Drift, I was out. But the definition of family, so they always say, okay, well, I'll move somebody in. I say, cool. Do you know the definition of family? The definition of family here in BC for kicking out your tenants and putting somebody in is mother, father, son, daughter.
Not spouse?
Mother, father, son, daughter. Spouse might be a good one, but then you'd probably be moving in unless you just really don't like each other.
Grandkids?
Nope. Mother, father, son, daughter. So they say, I'll move my brother in. Sorry. I'll move my cousin in. Nope. And then let's say you do that. They do that. I see this often. Oh, my mom's moving in. That'll be the excuse. And then mom never moves in and they rent it out. They wait a month and rent it out again. If that place isn't rented to your family for 6 months, that tenant's coming after you. And I think I'm not.
The fines are massive here, right?
It's like 12 months rent or something now.
Yeah, the fines are massive here. Yeah.
Your 60 days, is that do they get a month free? We get a month free.
Yeah, so that's actually, it used to be in Ontario pre-pandemic that you only had to give them 1 month's rent compensation if you were moving back into your own property. I don't agree with that either, but it is what it is. You're moving back into your own house and you have to pay to move anyways. But now, even if you sell your property to a new buyer and they are in fact moving in, or I believe the rules are a little bit less whatever in Ontario, but you still, you have to give 1 month's rent compensation plus the 60 days notice from the beginning of the next calendar month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here.
So, just want to bring that up because it's happening a lot. And it's funny, we're now having buyers say to us, when you create the property search for us, don't send us anything that has a tenant. We want vacant or owner occupied because we're not dealing with any crap on closing.
You want to hear my best tenant situation? A guy that fought. He started not paying his rent. Owner was a client, but overseas. And then he fought. He disputed the eviction or whatever for not paying his rent. So my client was just like, I'm just going to sell it, whatever. We go there to view the property. Obviously, no answer. So we get a key. We put notice on the door. We serve notice. We do the whole thing. We go back to view the property now with a key. The door is barricaded. So it was like a townhouse style. So what we did is we went around into the backyard. There was a window. I put my phone up. I took a picture like this because I couldn't actually get in that far. And he installed a 2x4 across the door. Right? Tenant didn't want to leave. And then we found that guy on the news complaining about being evicted because he couldn't afford a new place to live. Right?
Steve, if you really want to rile up the YouTube comments today, we can go into that whole thing. I don't think it's worth it. Like I think that everything favors the tenant anyways.
Yeah.
And there are some shitty landlords throughout the years that have taken advantage of people, and that's why these rules are in place. The bad apples, the same thing in our industry and every industry, and why changes come into place. But for the most part, maybe I'm naive saying this, I think 95% of people in the world are like wake up every day trying to be good people. I really do. Yeah. And I think the 5% screw it up for everybody on both sides. It's tough because the property ownership thing, if you don't own that asset, you have less rights and they can sell it from under you. And it's unfortunate, but those are the rules.
It seems to be that is less, the fact that it's your property is less important now than ever before. And I don't know. I don't agree with it, but
another quick thing I want to mention here before we get into the announcement to wrap this up. The vacant home tax in Toronto, Steve, we have now officially started complaining about it. Okay. And that is because they gave us 3 months to submit almost 1 million of these things, right?
Yeah.
And so CTV reached out to me. I did a little interview with them on what people can do. There were a few people that were away or were elderly and didn't understand. And then guess what? They get a piece of paper from the city because they didn't fill this out, and their house is valued at $1 million, and they owe the city $10,000 for living in their house and not filling out a piece of paper. Now, I know you've already gone through this and you probably already had these discussions. If you know anyone that went through this and they did legitimately live in their home and forgot to fill this out, there is an appeal process on the City of Toronto's website under the vacant home tax that you can do, and you will get it sorted. But then don't forget next year, and don't forget the year after that, and don't forget the year after that.
You gotta love negative billing, hey? Here's your bill. If you don't tell us you don't owe it, you owe it.
And now what's happening, I'm sure, again, this is something you had already done, but we're putting in clauses in our offers saying that the seller had to have filled out their vacant home tax declaration and prove it to us. Because if you buy a property and they didn't do it and their home was vacant and the lawyers don't catch it, like a good lawyer should be able to deal with this for you now. Actually, any lawyer, any real estate lawyer. Guess who's getting the bill the next year? The new owner.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, I don't quite get. So we're supposed to be, we don't have empty homes tax like Vancouver does, but we have speculation tax, which is the same thing, just provincially. But any year the property transfers, it's supposed to be like exempt in the year that the property transfers. However, do you guys have the satellite family rule?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. You can find news articles all about it. What they're trying to do is stop people coming over from other countries who just send their kids, and maybe the to be totally sexist, maybe the wife comes and the husband's a factory owner in China or something, and then the kids and the wife come here. There's no income being generated here.
Okay.
So those people are getting charged the speculation tax because their income is foreign. Does that make sense? So
your speculation tax is different than ours. Our speculation tax, the new one here, I thought was if you sell a property, like our speculation tax is the anti-flipping tax. You sell a property in less than 12 months, you get dinged on business income. Okay.
Ours is a vacancy tax.
Okay.
Or an underused property tax is the next one that's coming, by the way. That's an interesting definition. Underused.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Oh, well, let's get into that one on another show, because that's another hour-long conversation. So anyway, the thought was we're going to stop all these billionaire guys from sending their families to Canada using our healthcare and our education system and then not paying tax. That's the thought. Then they covered this one guy in Richmond who's owned his home since 2001. He bought it. He's paid off his mortgage, and he is retired. He married an American citizen like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay.
And she now is the breadwinner. And so he's lived in this house his whole, he's raised his kids there, single dad, the whole bit, retired, whatever. And now he's getting charged the speculation tax because he married someone whose income comes from outside of the country.
Don't you think if you retired, that should be an exemption for that? Because of course you're not going to have income. So anything more than zero is
the thing is he's gone and disputed it multiple, like 3 years in a row, and they're like, nope. And he's like, but I've lived here for 20 years. Because of the person I fell in love with, you're going to tax me another $7,500 a year or something like this? They're like, yeah, deal with it. So what's he do? Get a divorce? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's up to him.
Oh,
how much is love worth to you per year?
It's just absolute silliness. It's just what you say. You got the savings account right, and you got everything else wrong. All the other taxes are wrong. And yes, the next thing they're talking about is underused properties. So they're going to judge whether or not you should be housing more people on the property that you own.
Underused, like the gym equipment behind you, or what does it mean exactly?
I used this gym equipment again today.
By the way, hey, we should give the listeners an update. Steve is thinning out. Look at that beautiful face. Oh my God.
April hasn't been great.
But still, you're happy with the progress from the beginning of the year?
Yeah, man. I yesterday, this, dropped out of obese. I am now just overweight.
How do you, is that like a legal definition?
I don't know. It's BMI on my body tracker thing.
Okay.
I'm like, man, I lost like almost 40 pounds, and it's like, I'm still just out of obese.
Well,
I think they need to update those trackers or something. It's like, if you're not 145 pounds and 6 foot tall, you're overweight.
It's kind of like people that got pregnant over 35. They call them geriatric pregnancies. It's like they're 35. They're not 45 or 50. Like, obese sounds like kind of a harsh term.
They've actually lowered that number for pregnancies,
Maybe it's lower, yeah.
30 now.
Is it 30?
Yeah. Over 30, yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe you should use a word other than geriatric, because that just, I don't know, it doesn't sound great. It sounds like you're really old.
It's a proper term. I've been looking into proper terms, and a bunch of the words that are getting outlawed right now on social media and stuff are actually very proper terms for the things that they're describing. And yeah,
but we don't like it.
That needs to be the start of the show, maybe.
Okay, all right. Let's wrap this thing up. So I've got kind of a cool announcement. This really only pertains to the real estate industry. If you're a homeowner in Canada, you can listen to this if you want. Basically, there is a media network in the States called BAM. On YouTube, they are now BAM on website now, BAM, originally launched by Eric Simon, who runs a Instagram account called The Broke Agent. And it's a lot of humor and a lot of funny stuff. And he grew that account to like almost 500,000 followers, like massive audience, has run a really good business from it. And then they've turned it into a media network. And he's taken the humor side of things and created like, you know, a place that you can go and learn about what's happening in real estate and taking the stuffiness out of it, right? Like actual, not just these boring generic, like where realtors go to learn about things, but like something that's actually, it's got a little bit of humor, but it's based on real things happening. There's a lot of people. So I've connected with them as one of the creators, but what's kind of cool about the opportunity for me here is that I'm coming from it from a Canadian perspective. So some of the feedback they've gotten from their audience is this is all great information, but it has nothing to do with my market because they are obviously very American based in terms of their content. So I'm going as maybe like the Canadian correspondent. So if you follow them on any of their socials or on their blog, you're going to, unfortunately for you, maybe see a lot more of me. And that's kind of fun. And then we haven't launched it yet officially, but the video course that we've been running that we've had well over 350 people be a part of is moving to their platform. And we're going to launch that in a little bit and we'll share more about that. But yeah, just kind of some fun stuff on the industry side. I think it's going to be really cool to find an American audience as well and see what's going on there. And I think for us, Steve, even having John on the show 2 weeks ago, learning about what their market's like and their mortgages, and like, it's like, I feel like we're going to learn so much from connecting with people that are outside just our Canadian bubble and like figure out what's going on. It's going to help us educate us. And what will be cool as well is maybe have a few of these people with high profiles in the States join our podcast as well. So fun little announcement that might matter to you, might not matter to you, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Congratulations, Tom Storey, becoming a big timer.
Thank you, Stephen. I haven't lost your number yet, but I'm
about to lose yours because if I beat you to 10,000 subscribers, I don't even know you.
You are going to. You're on pace. You're at 9,000 now, so congrats. Like you beat me there. I think I'm 200 below you. So yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my real channel, please do it because
I'm assuming everyone subscribed to our other channels and those people got to come here.
Don't assume. You never know.
Tell you what, realtors that, because we've lost the public all the way around now, realtors that are listening, please go ahead, let some people know in your offices if you're listening to this that, you know, we can try and connect with people across the country and get some good Canadian real estate talk out there, not from the stuffy point of view of the associations and the, you know, the stuff that we normally do, the stuff that has like piano music in their intro and things like that's just not where real people want to learn about anything, right? They want to come here and listen to these two idiots talk for an hour a week. So we appreciate it. What
did we learn today, or maybe not learn, but hear about? We learned about CREA's exclusive listing decision. We learned about the ins and outs of selling a tenanted property, being on the landlord side or the tenant side. We talked about the new first-time home savings account, which I truly believe is a game changer, and everyone that's listening, or if you know someone that just should know about this, send them the video I did on my main channel and watch it and learn about it and see if it's for you. And then Steve's got conspiracy theories, and that's what we learned today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Steve, any final thoughts?
No, man. I like these ones. These are fun. It's nice.
I like these ones too.
And I'm just looking at the list here. I don't want to spoiler alert anything, but next week, epic. Week after, epic. It's just getting better and better as we go. And in a few weeks, man, we have literally, I'm not going to spoil it here, Tom. I know you like to spoil. Don't spoil. We have literally the most influential person in Canadian real estate coming on the podcast in a few weeks. Like literally voted that. I don't know if people are going to Google that now, but like we have one of the top of the top of the top, if not the top person in Canadian real estate coming on.
Well, I thought that was me until recently. So now I'm jealous of this person, not me. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I'm very excited. And someone who I know personally and is just so smart and articulates things so well. And I'm really pumped to have them on the show. All right. We'll leave you on that cliffhanger. Steven, final thoughts?
This is second final thoughts. That was my final thought.
Final thoughts, PPS?
Oh, we're also looking at making this thing better soon too, but that's all I'll leave on that.
Ooh.
No more final thoughts.
No more final thoughts. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you've been watching on YouTube, thank you for listening on the audio platforms. I hope you have an amazing week, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Give us a rating. For darn sake.
Ratings too. Okay, bye for real.
Bye.